Hey folks, Phil Gallagher of ThrabenU here for another modern video. Before I get started, this is just a public safety announcement. Double sleeve your cards. Make sure your collection is protected. I keep my cards in a fireproof safe, and somehow some water or moisture got in there, and my entire collection smelled like mildewy and gross. And guess what? Because they were double sleeved, exactly 2 cards out of the entire thing got damaged. So while I spent like 5 hours unsleeving and resleeving all of my cards and running to game stores, multiple game stores to get enough sleeves to do that, I'm mostly good. One of the cards that was damaged was a 25-cent Containment Priest. The other one was a Scrubland, and I don't know if this will show up here, but it is not looking great. But it was 2 cards instead of my entire collection, so that was pretty awesome. Ugh. All right. So today we are going to be playing Nicholas A's donation, who sent me an early version of Calibrated Blast. So they had donated for Calibrated Blast prior to the the spoiler season starting for New Capenna, and then they sent me an email saying hold the phone, wait until Shadow of Mortality is out. This is a perfect fit for this deck. All right. So let's start with the combo itself, and then we'll talk a little bit about this exact deck list. So, Calibrated Blast says you reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a non-land card. Put the revealed card on the bottom of your library in a random order. When you reveal a non-land card this way, Calibrated Blast deals damage equal to that card's mana value to any target. Okay? Now, this card also does have Flashback, and we're going to have another way to replay it as well. So, the idea is you cast a Calibrated Blast and hit your opponent or what very well might be lethal in Modern. So, unlike Legacy, where you might take 3 points of damage from your fetch lands in a game, Modern is the format of the shock lands, meaning it is not unreasonable for someone to deal 5 points of damage to themselves in a game. And that's part of the reason why Burn and other similar decks tend to do relatively well in Modern. So we are looking to reveal these big bad things and just dome our opponent in a single shot. We also have Throes of Chaos, which is just a cascade spell for us to function as copies 5 and 6 of Calibrated Blast. What's nice about this is that this also has Retrace, so you can cast a Throes of Chaos, Calibrated Blast, and then retrace this from your graveyard by discarding a land to do it again. So, you might be asking, Phil, well, what the hell do I do if I hit my opponent for 15 and it's not enough? Well, you can just flashback this thing, or there's a number of land-based options that can do a little bit of damage. So a Sunscorched Desert deals 1 damage to target player or planeswalker when it ETBs. Ramunap Ruins is worth 2 damage if you can get up to 5 total mana to activate it. And so Kenzan, Crucible of Defiance, can make 2 colorless spirit creature tokens with haste. Now, one of these big fatties is super castable. Scion of Draco is castable for 2 mana if you control Rafine's Tower and Stomping Ground. That gives you Domain, that gives you all 5 of them, or Spara's Headquarters and Blood Crypt. So, when you're fetching with this deck, you have to be very cognizant of playing towards Scion of Draco. Technically, Shadow of Mortality can also be a way that you can sneak in those last couple of points of damage. And I've seen a couple of screenshots of this deck hardcasting in Emarkul. So this deck has a lot of lands. That is 38 lands, folks. And the reason you're doing that is so that the cascade does its thing. You also can just put a Keruga into your deck. And this is one of the pieces of technology that wasn't in the original deck list that was submitted to me, but I think is really smart. So if you can just play a companion that is a 5/4 thing that might be able to crash in and get a single hit in, that's super reasonable when your primary combo card deals 15 damage. As far as the sideboard goes, This deck is a relatively linear combo deck. It's trying to do the same thing every time, so you're not going to sideboard very many generic cards. You are sideboarding very pointed things. You're trying to make sure that your Calibrated Blasts resolve. You're trying to make let me drag that out. You're trying to make sure that discard isn't going to ruin your day, since you're keeping your hands largely based on the power of a single card most of the time. And you're trying to make sure that you can go and sweep up anything you need to sweep up. Playing against an artifact deck with a bunch of free stuff, nuke them. Playing against a deck with a whole bunch of one-drop aggressive creatures, nuke them. Like you've got options here. I think that's all I have to say about this one. I'm really excited to try this one out. I goldfished it a handful of times in the tournament practice room just to kind of get used to fetching the lands and whatnot, and it was killing pretty consistently. All right, let's battle. Please consider throwing me a like before this video begins to support my content. It's the easiest way to do so for free. And if you're new here and you enjoy the content, please consider subscribing. There's lots more ridiculous things coming. Let's battle. All right, let's do this. In the last Moto update, they keep like shrinking down the sideboard to just like the tiniest possible size. Hey, I like this a lot. Let's keep this. So, ooh, we are playing against Tron. All right, so I'll just play this and just kind of call it good. And I think I have to, 2 pieces of natural Tron is like absolutely scary here. All right, so let's fetch. I can fetch Sparas into Blood Crypt with what I have going on here. All right. This is what I mean about taking a little bit of extra damage in Modern. And now we have played our 12 mana card for 2 mana. Seems legit. And now we're just hoping my opponent doesn't have the 3rd piece naturally, because if they do, not great for me. If they don't, they die next turn in a whole lot of circumstances. They have gotten an expedition map. All right, so they have guaranteed Tron next turn. Such is life. They'll probably chump block here, I imagine. Oh, you decided not to chump block, did you? It would be a shame if something happened. All right, what did we actually reveal? Let's see. It revealed a Calibrated Blast. I guess that's the price of doing business. I mean, these things have flashback. So on 5 mana, I can go and do my thing. I'm a little nervous, though. I'm not going to lie to you. My opponent has a whole lot of mana. And I didn't even need to activate their expedition map to go and do their thing. Okay. So I'm going to get 4 damage in this turn. I'm thinking about whether or not I want to do this. It's reasonable to do this. Just a little weird, because, like, I want to hit 5 mana. This is an ETB tapped land that isn't exactly great right now. I think I just want this, though. Alright. Let's do it. Let's make my creatures. And fashion for 6. So taking this line does mean I think I need to shock myself next turn in order to get up to the appropriate mana amount. Alright. They're down to 6. They're going to crack this expedition map. Oh, they're going to repeal. Okay. What does that do for them? Is that just like a way that they are going to just get another tower? Slowly? They're a trinket mageable win condition. They've gotten an island. Play Modern infrequently enough that I don't really know the ins and outs of the deck lists at this time. Okay, that's the concession point. Honestly feel like I dodged a fucking bullet there. Like, opponent had 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 mana and just like nothing to do with it with a 7-card grip. Or maybe more accurate, nothing they wanted to show me. Is this a sideboard 0 cards matchup? Or do I like play a couple extra Autowaras to bounce big dumb shit out of play? Like, also, to what extent is my opponent going to have counter spells? Okay, I didn't see a Trinket Mage list in the top couple of MTG top 8 results. The blue versions were having like negates in the sideboards and condescends in the main deck. I might want to go ahead and make this adjustment. My life total doesn't matter too much in this matchup. I really don't know what to board out in terms of lands. I haven't really given that much thought. I might just trim on the legendary lands. Since, like, I am adding more legendary lands. Is this one technically legendary? It is technically legendary, but it's mana acceleration, and that probably matters here. Yeah, let's trim on a legendary land in each direction and call that okay. Stop shrinking my Keruga. I hate it. I hate it. Yeah, this is fine. I will need a third land, but I will have multiple draws to do it. All right, what do you got? Map is fine. All right, good draw, good draw. All right, so with Blood Crypt, I want Spara's headquarters if I can get it, which I can. Yeah, I'm gonna have a pretty strong start here. I will just dock myself for this, obviously, and throw this out there. You can condescend me or whatever. Yep. Yeah, so that's a bait spell to actually get Calibrated Blast to resolve. So, like, I'm very much good with this. All right, what do you got? The fact that my opponent has played out multiple lands that are not Tron lands here is pretty good for me. Do I need that second green for anything? I don't really think so. Calibrated Blast. Let's go. Like, I'm getting negated. I'm getting remanded. That's totally fine. Like, my opponent is probably multiple turns away from assembling Tron and putting something into play that can realistically kill me. All right. Once more, we're blasting. Oh, they have yet another counterspell. Put on top or bottom of its owner's library. Absolutely. I guess I'm going to take this opportunity to just fetch. What are these? I guess at this point it doesn't super matter, actually. Oh, I choose this. Yeah, I'll continue to just put this on top. Like, I will cast Calibrated Blasts until my opponent is dead. All right, grabbing an island. Okay, sure, yeah, fetch away. This will assemble Tron for them. And we'll see what they can do with it. They might just have to hold up counterspells. I think I'm going to do this in their upkeep. I don't really want them to draw another card. Oh, I'll do it right here in response, actually. All right. What did we reveal? All right. We are unfortunately only getting 4 damage out of this one. All right. And then my opponent can go ahead and do their whole Thirst for Knowledge thing. So we got flashback on this one plus 2 more of these. I am outside of caring about like a Karn minusing and taking out one of my lands or something. Oh, it's just beatdown time with Hall of Storm Giants. That's totally fine. Like, it hurts, but it's not that big of a deal. I am unsure whether or not I play this as a land. I think since I have just so many Calibrated Blast queued up, I don't. I also think since Condescend will counter one of these anyway, I do the flashback one here. And I'll do that in my opponent's upkeep. I just don't want them to have another look at a counter spell. All right, let's do it. Okay. There's a remand. So remand normally returns the spell to its owner's hand, but that doesn't work with flashback. So, like, the flashback means that you just, like, exile it as the spell resolves. So I don't get to, like, loop that single Calibrated Blast forever. It's my current hope that I draw an untapped land so I can just double Calibrated Blast. Yeah, fantastic. So let's go ahead and play that and pass the turn. And I do think I will continue to do these in upkeep. Blastin'. Okay, nice. So that's worth 15 damage. What is this in response? When... Wow. Wow. First of all, how dare you? Second of all, before you draw that card, I'm just going to go ahead and get in there and do this again. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, there's There's a nice meaty chunk of damage. That puts my opponent to 1. And my opponent does get to, unfortunately, counter the other one. Then I've got this on flashback, which hopefully kills my opponent. This deck is neat as hell. All right, Ugin, can that gain life? All right, so yeah, okay, yeah, opponent has conceded the game. Yeah. All right, this deck is super fun, folks. I'm enjoying this. Oh man, my hippo stayed big this time. This is fantastic. Will the hippo shrink again later? That's the real question. Okay, without one of my like combo kill cards, do I keep this hand? This is a question that I had before the league. I feel like the answer is no. Like a turn 2 4/4 is super cool, but I feel like I mulligan at least once looking for a Calibrated Blast since that effect is just so powerful. Yeah, let's keep this. I'll just kind of pitch a Boseiju here. It's legendary, and I run multiple of them in my deck. And we'll call that good. I'm going to play out the fetch lands first and play towards a turn 2 Scion of Draco if I happen to draw one. What's that? No land, Plains Island. Sure, absolutely. All right, let's go ahead and fetch. I want Sparas plus Blood Crypt. In case that's a thing that I need to do. Doesn't seem like it is. I'm gonna go ahead and fetch. I don't know. I saw a Nimble Obstructionist last round, so now like I'm a little paranoid. So fetching Zeator's Proving Ground is just better than Blood Crypt. We may be in for a grind here if my opponent is a true control deck. We got these deserts though. Let's save targets on our opponent here and always yield because we're gonna play a handful of those. And if my opponent fetches end of turn, I am going to Calibrated Blast in response to that fetch. All right, let's see if we did the thing. No. No. I would have done it like in their upkeep otherwise. That's fine. Like it's got flashback. Like it's coming back. And I'm gonna pop out my hippo friend so I do not forget about my hippo friend. What is this one? Okay, that is the Bant one. I am not super familiar with these headquarter lands. Okay, that is a Teferi. Oh, that's fucking bad, isn't it? Wait, no, this doesn't cast it. Yeah, okay. So like that's actually fine. Yeah. Let's start doing some pinging. And I'm gonna put a hippo into my hand. It's not going to be a particularly strong hippo. Oh, does this require red? This requires red. I guess that's a downside of going for Sparas early on. Green, blue. So I'm okay on that route. Do one of these. And play a hippo. And, like, opponent has a Teferi. I don't expect to draw a card with the Keruga trigger over the course of this league, because this is each other. It doesn't count itself. Yeah, that'll be my turn. Okay, Ice Fang Coatl is fine. But like this means like opponent has my hippo like very, very much covered. All right, there's a bounce. I am absolutely good with recasting it. An opponent can slowly poke me closer to this being a real card. I have double black. I do not have double black, so I'd like a Blood Crypt with this. All right, sounds good. And I will go ahead and shock here. And I will absolutely gonna jam. I don't think I want to give my opponent more time to draw relevant cards. Like, I don't know exactly what their counterspell suite is, but I don't think I want to give them more time to find things like Snapcasters for Spell Pierces or Remands or whatever they're going to have. All right. Opponent feels favored here. But if I draw the Retrace Cascade spell, that's probably going to feel pretty good for me. Are we on cast this big dumb idiot? How much are you currently costing? You're currently costing 8. Maybe I'll do you next turn. Yeah, I think I'll just play Keruga this turn and go from there. All right, good stuff. I don't think I want to shock myself to make this cost less, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Solitude. That's a little inconvenient in terms of like the Shadow of Mortality. At this point, I think I'm just going to go ahead and fetch something tapped and call that good. Yeah, that should be fine. I haven't actually looked to see if I can cast this card yet in my deck. I feel like the answer is no, but I don't actually know for sure. I have 3 colored mana symbols towards it currently. So this can be 4 colored mana symbols towards it. All right, maybe it's possible. At 13. All right. And the Teferi plus on the Ice Fang Coatl. Nice. Oh, actually, this Cascade thing isn't going to work the way that I want because of Teferi, huh? Well, damn. I was excited about that for a second, and now I no longer am. Alright, so I guess I will just play this as a land and drop this into play. This is an expensive critter. I have green, white, green, green, or white. Like, this is in play. Opponent has Ice Fang Coatl. Opponent has some chump blockers. Opponent has a Teferi. I'm not super optimistic about this creature doing anything meaningful. Opponent can also just, like, have another Solitude or something. Oh, yeah, yep, there we go. There we go. Good news is I'm at 20 life. The bad news is opponent has 7 power in play. It lifelinks. Not great. It's going to be hard to kill my opponent with, like, Calibrated Blast type cards. Yeah. Yeah. I am not going... No, I guess I can't really win, right? Like, that is just so much life gain here that, like, I would have to double Calibrated Blast in a turn, and I'm not at... Oh, good God. Okay. Opponent is gaining 9 there. Which means I can't even double Calibrated Blast for a kill. Good God. Okay. So let's get these Boseijus in here, and I assume that's all I'm going to sideboard. Yeah. Jumpstone Cavern doesn't do anything when I'm on the play, so let's board 3 of those out for 3 Boseiju and call that good. Do you bounce Planeswalkers? Do bounce Planeswalkers. Do I want a 3rd copy of this legendary land in my deck? Guess I already have 3 of another legendary land. Let's not. Hello, small hippo. Yeah, this is totally fine. So with Stomping Grounds, I want to get Rafine's Tower off my fetch. Or actually, I can't, right? Isn't Rafine's Tower the Esper one? Yeah, so Wooded Foothills doesn't actually get that. So I'll just pick up a different tapped land here. So this is the Jund one. I probably don't want that. This is the Bant one. Bant one sounds pretty good. I'm not going to be casting a Shadow of Mortality anytime soon. So I think it's fine to not work towards double black currently. Okay. I am going to play tapped Boseiju here. It lets my opponent know that's coming, but if I were to top deck the Calibrated Blast itself, I could do it uncounterably next turn. So that's cool. All right, yeah. These headquarter lands are pretty cool. Like, cycling plus 3 types is strong. All right. Tapped Stomping Ground this turn is probably fine. Although I guess I can also just go and fetch out a... whatchamacallit? One of these headquarter lands here. You can have a nice Fang Coatl. That's fine. Just gonna kind of play my fetch land. I know I could fetch whenever, I guess. Yeah, alright. I already have blue mana, so I want this to get me red-black, which this accomplishes. I would like to draw a Calibrated Blast directly. That would be my absolute ideal draw here. A Scion of Draco is not bad. I can Otawara this to fairy. Or no, this doesn't actually produce... No, it does. It's contingent. If that mana is used on an instant or sorcery, it can't be countered. Yeah, I think I'm going to kind of play this in a little bit slower way and try to go for the fair, like, try to go for bouncing the Teferi at a time when I feel like I can win the game on the spot. Alright. A Boseiju. Fine. I think I'm going to keep playing red sources. Feels to me like I very much could end up in a situation where I need to, like, play a Calibrated Blast and flash it back in the same turn. What is this? Oh, this is the weird dig through time type thing. Yeah, sure. So that's pretty respectable. Like, the fact that this has flashback and on the way back down, like, you are going to look at 7 is really strong. Like, it's a pretty good spell on the front end, but the back end of that is truly impressive. Alright, you gonna, like, solitude me or something? Oh, more other Teferi. Okay. It has a lot of resources. A lot of resources. It's super unfortunate that I had multiple throws of chaos instead of just drawing one Calibrated Blast, because I think I won this game for drawing a Calibrated Blast. How much are you costing? Too much? Yeah, you're costing 11 right now. Let's play that. I'm going to try to attack small Teferi and just get this Ice Fang Coatl off the board. Potentially open up some other shenanigans for later. And I'm maybe going to go for the Otawara bounce at the end of my opponent's turn here. And see if I can make them discard a card. Seems like respectable value. Alright, sure. Alright, yep. Opponent has just a few creatures. And I'll take a little poke damage here. Alright. So let's bounce this Planeswalker out of the way. And try to do my thing. And my opponent can untap their lands. And they do have to discard 2 cards. So I guess I would like to hurt myself here. Because, like, I very actively have double Shadow of Mortality that I would like to work towards. Alright, Calibrated Blast. I will cast it. It is counterable. Alright, and it did get countered. I can do it uncounterably next turn. And let's bash that in at my opponent. Force an Ice Fang Coatl to go away. Yep. Alright. I don't have second black yet for the Shadow of Mortalities, but, like, they're otherwise castable. Okay. So I made my window, and my opponent just, like, very rudely slammed the window on my fingertips. That's brutal. I don't know that I come back from that. Wow. Endurance was not something that I was expecting. It makes sense that it's in their deck, but I hadn't seen it yet. Okay. Okay. Opponent just, like, has so much ability to just, like, bounce potential blockers that I would play out of my deck. Life's rough. So, like, I could shock here, get Blood Crypt, play my idiot, and then take 4 on the backswing. I guess. Like, this also, like, very much could just get counterspelled. Yeah. I don't even think you mess with this if you're the opponent. A Solitude for end of turn or something. Another Endurance. Yeah, so my opponent bounces this and then has 7 on board damage. Ugh. Drawing Throes of Chaos instead of Calibrated Blast was brutal. Like, I had a very, very potent sideboard card, but not the ability to utilize it properly. Alright, round 3. I have a bunch of dead cards in hand. I can't get Domain for Scion of Draco quickly. I think I am just going to go ahead and mulligan this one. Hey, uncounterable quick Calibrated Blast. Don't mind if I do. So I'll keep this and pitch Boseiju, I believe. We'll use Scalding Tarn for Fiend's Tower, Wooded Foothills for Stomping Ground to play turn 2 Scion. Although, honestly, depending on the matchup, I might just, like, ignore the Boseiju. Yeah, okay, so given this matchup, no, I will still take the turn to put the Scion in play. I don't necessarily have to worry about it being uncounterable. Yeah, and I can just, like, draw any other land that comes into play untapped. Right, so I want Stomping Grounds, Will Shock, and then 2 mana, 4/4 flyer. Let's go. This does also, like, technically give some properties to my other creatures, but that's probably not coming up this league. But giving one of these things lifelink does sound cool. What is this? Oh, that's the whenever you cast a big spell, get a colorless creature. All right. Sounds good to me. Murder time. That puts opponent to 16. And I'll go ahead and Calibrated Blast them. What did I reveal? An Autochthon Wurm. Fantastic. So opponent dies to my Scion of Draco next turn. Yep. Everything's good. I can see the appeal of this deck if you are a grinder. Like, that was about 2 minutes and 30 seconds for a game, including my, like, introduction time. Or nothing for Tron. I don't know if my opponent's version is blue, so, like, I don't know if I need to adjust anything, like, in terms of, like, playing around counterspells with Boseiju. I saw a colorless flex land, which makes me think no. I think no. I could just, like, swap out a Boseiju or an ETB untapped land. That makes sense to me. Yeah, let's do that. Sometimes the hippo is big and sometimes the hippo is small. This seems like a pretty easy mulligan to me. This, you know what? This also seems like a pretty easy mulligan to me. How about this one? As a 5-card hand, this is 4 lands and a Shadow of Mortality. I think it is better to mulligan to a Calibrated Blast at this point. Mission accomplished. Keep. So we'll put 2 big fatties in the deck. And given that I have 0 like true lands for the Scion of Draco, I think I'll just throw that back and just guarantee myself 3 land drops and maybe have the ability to use this one as a spell. I don't really want a second Boseiju here. Such is life. Hey, I could go for their Chromatic Sphere. Honestly, like, life's not that bad currently. Like, things could absolutely be worse. I don't think I am going to Boseiju away a Chromatic Star and let my opponent draw a card off of it for no resources. Alright, play the Ruins, pass the turn, and hope to get a little lucky here. Eh? 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 Yeah. Yeah. Alright. The opponent can just, like, straight up minus on my next land or something. Leave me in real fucking bad shape. Play this tapped, call it a turn. Yeah, like, we'll see whether or not opponent is interested in just, like, losing the card immediately or whether they're gonna just keep attacking my hand. I think either is reasonable. I'd probably go after the mana, like, from their position. But, you know, a Karn's a Karn, right? Like, it is a powerful magic card. And sinkhole every other turn is still pretty damn good. Yep, alright, they are just immediately nuking the other lands. Please don't have another. Huh? Well, that's a Boseiju target, I guess. But, life's bad. I guess I could, like, double Calibrated Blast for 15 both times, and, like, that's totally fine. Oh, casual 11 mana. Sure, nothing bad will happen here. Alright, opponent has destroyed 4 of my lands on my mulligan to 5. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Okay. So on the play, Gemstone Caverns is not super good. I could play like more Boseiju or Otawara or Nephalia Academy. Like Nephalia Academy basically has the same text as this, except it's not legendary. How many Otawaras would I play? Like running into the legend rule is a thing that exists. Let's swap out Caverns for these. And I'm really hoping to kill my opponent before I need this stuff. But I think that's okay to do. The bow is small again. Okay. I have a Throes of Chaos. Is the 4 mana version of this acceptable when I am on the play? Let's go with yes. But I think it is like a yes barely, not a yes overwhelmingly. Like this is a hand that's hoping to kill on turn 5. Alright. I am going to fetch. I want the Jund one here since I already have blue as well. Or do I have one that makes red and blue? No. Alright, yeah, I will grab the Jund one then. And I assume my opponent's first couple of turns just always kind of look roughly the same. Alright. Target you. Save targets. Always yield. Best draw is a space laser. Second best draw is probably something that lets me poop the Scion of Draco into play. So nope. I'll deal 2 to my opponent. And we'll see how bad their turn is for me. They have turn 3 Tron. Fuck. I lose my red source here. That's brutal. And probably means that I just lose the game for that. It's like, opponent doesn't have to minus here. They can. They don't have to. See what their follow-up is. Fuck me. This is so much land destruction. Damn. Yeah, and if they didn't have... Ugh. Alright, I assume this is the end for me. But we'll see. Like, opponent can... that's very good as well. Oh, okay, they're not going to sit on it. Just looking for something to play, which I guess is reasonable from their perspective. And there's more. Okay. Another tower, sure. Okay, alright. Second one of those to just sit on. Oh, they're thinking about popping it. Alright, goodbye, real world. God, more? Stop, I have a family. And, okay, yeah. I don't think you're supposed to play that out for 1. I think you're supposed to wait a turn and play that out for 1 billion, but, like, I don't know your hand, so... I guess there's still worlds where I win this game. Oh, God. Alright. Fine. I don't know how many lands my opponent destroyed in those games, but it was approximately 700. Hey folks, I hope you're enjoying the show. If you are, please consider doing something to support me. You can do plenty of things for free without using any money, like liking and commenting on the video or subscribing to the channel. Those sorts of things support me, and if you're in a position that you can support me financially, you can do so by doing a donation deck list, becoming a YouTube member, or following me on Patreon. Alright, that's the plug. Back to the magic. Alright, I will be keeping this hand. We have a Calibrated Blast. I can't just, like, turbo out the Scion of Draco, but, probably fine to just keep the hand based on the power of Calibrated Blast, especially when I have a Mishra's Factory that can do a little bit of chip damage. Ooh, don't discard me. Right, we are potentially playing against like a Death Shadow deck if they're just randomly shocking themselves. Okay. Which one is Spara's headquarters? Alright, sort. Mana value, Spara's headquarters. Spara's headquarters. Doom function. Alright, it is the Bant one. I can fetch this and just play Scion of Draco on turn 2. That sounds good to me. Okay, sure. Okay. Oh, legit, it's a Tarmogoyf. I haven't seen one of those in a while. Because Legacy isn't really in a Tarmogoyf place right now. Alright. Blood Crypt. Shock. 4/4 flyer. Opponent's also at 14 already, just like FYI. So Calibrated Blast kills them a good portion of the time. Alright. Feel good about that. Let's see what my opponent does, though. Guess I can kind of get into some Croxus. Fine, I'll just get rid of an ETB tapped land here. And I've successfully held the Tarmogoyf back. Cool. I'll bash in for 4. Drops opponent to 9. Don't know the matchup well enough to know when I need to do this. Like, I don't know if I need to be playing around a Spell Pierce or something versus like Remand or something that requires more than 1 mana. I am just going to fire off now before my opponent has access to more mana. Stubborn Denial. Okay. Alright, now I know. Tarmogoyf is relatively large. Their breeding pool doesn't contribute towards a Croxa, and I have them on a 2-turn clock with Scion of Draco. Although I might end up in a situation where I have to shump block. They play some giant Death Shadow or something. Okay, yeah, they're not willing to pay any more life here. And it is another Tarmogoyf, absolutely. Yeah, I will eat that damage to the face. That's totally fine. I probably just Otawara a Tarmogoyf back to their hand in combat. This is blue, right? Yeah. And I have red if I play this next turn. Sounds good. Bash for 4. I am also just representing lethal in the air next turn with that. So, like, that's a thing too. Guess I also can represent lethal with this plus that. Versus the Uvenwald, absolutely. This can also just be 2 blockers. But then I can't flash that back with double red. So let's go for the bounce here. It just happened. This isn't a spell. All right, cycling a Street Wraith to try to find something to get out of it. Absolutely. I go to 5. You're at 2. Yeah, multiple onboard lethal threats. Okay. The opponent has discard. Is this a May? This is a May. So I'm going to want to run these over potentially Gemstone Caverns, I guess. I think playing around the discard is more important than potentially getting mana ramp. Yeah, let's make that substitution. And then I can play some number of Boseiju. The life loss is definitely real against like a Tarmogoyf deck. I don't know that I'm going to max out on those. I'll probably play some number. Green sources don't super matter in this matchup. They play like 2 more. I don't know that I want to max them out. That's reasonable. I could also play like another Otawara over a Boseiju. Again, though, like legendary lands in multiples can be kind of rough. A little mitigated by the fact that I am a 38 land deck. I don't know, maybe my Calibrated Blast just does so much damage against this deck in particular that if it resolves that I do just max out on those. Going down too many Boseijus does mean the Keruga gets a little harder to cast, but I think that's kind of whatever. And this one's a clear mulligan. See what the 6 looks like. The 6 has a Throes of Chaos and an early Scion of Draco. I am on board with that. All right, so I can use Arid Mesa to fetch a dual land and then go Blood Crypt as the follow-up. Not super good versus discard here. All right, sure. See if there is a Thoughtseize. Actually, I guess Throes of Chaos is resilient to that. I just lose my early Scion of Draco. which is like definitely a thing that matters. Yeah. Yeah. And there is the Scion of Draco going away as expected. You can take your card. Nice. All right. So with Blood Crypt, I want Sparas. And I still have a very impressive turn 2 threat, followed by turn 4 Throes of Chaos. Although, like, stuff can definitely happen, so, like, we'll see. Okay, revealing a Death Shadow. That is a relatively large creature that is going to get larger. I think it will still be worth doing this. And flooping that into play. Combat math could get all sorts of weird very quickly. Alright, there's a Terminate for my Scion of Draco. I've got the better clock here. That's fine. I still get to do my thing on turn 4, and I can make it uncounterable with Boseiju. Actually, can't make it uncounterable with Boseiju. Taking 7, plus I need to fetch. So a counter spell is going to beat me. Okay, yeah, a counter spell is going to beat me. Grab the Proving Ground, call it a turn. Yep, okay, that is unfortunately lethal. I am at 9. I'll concede here. Yeah, just out of curiosity. Ooh, would have been good, and I would have gotten 15. Okay. Cool. I don't think I am going to change anything here. I guess an Otawara on the play is a little more tempting. Just bounce Death Shadows out of the way. I do that over, like, Sunscorched Desert. Probably do that over Sunscorched Desert, okay. This is probably one of those decks where the nuance of sideboarding comes with time. No, I don't have a win condition here. Scion of Draco based hand. I'm super vulnerable to discard. Mulliganing further to beat discard probably doesn't make sense, though. Let's get rid of an Otawara. I'll just play this and fetch Spara's Headquarters and call it a turn. Got a turn 2, 4/4 big if I don't get Thought Seized. If I do get Thought Seized, you know, there's always the top of the deck. All right, am I getting Thought Seized, or are you just going to play like a Traverse the Uvenwald or something? Fuck, I am. All right. Top deck, Scion of Draco. Shadow of Mortality. I'm going to assume that my opponent will lower my life total for me. And I'm just going to take the opportunity to play this tapped so that I can better play around Stubborn Denial if that's something that I end up needing to do. What is that? Okay, it is a Tarmogoyf. That's fine. My draws less so. And again, I don't think I am going to just turbo down my life total here. Don't make black. So I have single black towards this already. Oh, God. That's so much damage. Okay, there is a Scion of Draco. Fantastic. I will just play that out normally, not lose any life here. And next turn, if I don't draw something relevant, I just Otawara a Tarmogoyf out of play. My Scion of Draco could end up being correct to just chump block with it and buy time and just hope that I draw a Calibrated Blast sometime in the next 3-ish turns rather than trying to kill my opponent with this. Or they could just like terminate it and it's like whatever. All right, that is a Thoughtseize. I'll lose my Shadow of Mortality. Yep, all right, as expected. So my opponent has me on a 2-turn clock. By blocking, I extend my life for a turn. I think I will take the block. Like, opponent has the first attack here. Let's try to stay alive and top deck something relevant. Because, like, my opponent can just put out more pressure, too, or, like, disrupt me in some way. Otawara. I think I play the second one, so I don't have to use Boseiju for life. Not a feel-good situation. So I'll bounce a Tarmogoyf here. Take 4, go to 7. And I'll be dead next turn. Oh, do you have something that can mess with this? Teamer Battle Rage on the other one. Absolutely. Okay. That puts me to 1. making me feel very good that I did not tap the Boseiju, but meaning that, like, top decking the right card here, necessarily going to save me. I shall have a hero's death. GG's. Alright, final round. I'm gonna mulligan this hand. I don't have a Space Death laser of any kind to fire off. And I can't immediately just get a Scion of Draco into play either. Hey, I like this. We'll keep this and throw back the dead Emarkul. Get more Calibrated Blast hits into the deck. Okay, we are playing against Hammer Time. Found an Emarkul. So if I have Stomping Ground, I can get Rafine's Tower. So I will fetch that with a Scalding Tarn. And we are absolutely just, like, off to the races. Who kills whom first? Like, that's the name of the game here. I like that my opponent is not playing things yet, so I want Rafine's with Stomping Ground. Alright, there we go. Okay. So I have untapped red easily. Let's play the desert here. Target my opponent. Targets. Always yield. And make some constructs. You can absolutely make some constructs. Nexus is scary. Get a basic. I probably just get a basic. Alright, I am not going to play the Calibrated Blast immediately in case I end up in some situation where I have to Calibrated Blast the Inkmoth Nexus in order to stay alive. Alright. Opponent gets an Inkmoth. On the off chance that they were to grab a Pithing Needle instead of a hammer, I'd probably grab my mountain now. And they're going to go and get a hammer, and for free with Sigarda, attach it to Inkmoth Nexus. So I need to Calibrated Blast that, so I don't just die to 10 points of infect damage here. Then I'll work towards flashback Calibrated Blast. Alright, cool. That goes at Inkmoth Nexus. Okay. Yeah, you can put a Shadow Spear over there in response, that's fine. The lifelink here is definitely annoying. That means it's harder to just, like, one-shot my opponent. That's cool. I have to play Stomping Ground for you to be cheap. Or I guess this does the same thing. Yeah, that's fine. I'll play a 4/4 flyer. And this is red. Okay, so I do have double red for this next turn, so I can play Sunscorched Desert next turn and then go for 15 damage. My opponent can animate Inkmoth Nexus, though, and make this a 5/5, so I can't actually trade in combat. I can just undo most of the damage by attacking with a Scion instead. I probably just have to block that if opponent is coming in with it, right? Feels like I have to block that if opponent is coming in with it. Double, triple checking myself. Okay, cool. Alright. Play a desert. Hit my opponent for 3. I'm gonna let my opponent untap more mana. I don't know what to play around in that regard. Okay, that is an Emarkul. I can kill my opponent's construct, or I can just take 15 to their face and try to top deck another way to kill them. I'm gonna go face here. Like, I don't know that I feel like my opponent's deck has enough random creatures that they can find something else to equip Shadow Spear to. So, like, I don't know that that is truly going to put me into a winning position so much as just, like, drawing another answer would. This can be done at instant speed. Be done at instant speed. I'm going to attempt to trade with that in combat. Not where I want to be. Probably okay. Oh, shit, I could have put Keruga into my hand. Alright, so Pure Steel Paladin means that this can equip, and that Trample is going to do me in. Yeah. But, like, my opponent playing out Pure Steel Paladin, like, as another body to equip Shadow Spear to also would have been problematic. Alright, I don't get to look at my top couple cards. Okay. I will be on the play, meaning that Gemstone Cavern doesn't have real text. I'll play a Boseiju. I don't know what the blue is for in my opponent's deck. Well, let's maybe add out my mana base with some other lands and I don't think I want to go any deeper than that. If my opponent does have some counter spells, like maybe I want these, but I think when I'm on the play and I don't know whether or not they have counter spells, I'm just gonna, like, I'm bringing in a few legendary lands. I don't want to trip over that. Okay, I have the Throes of Chaos here. I would really prefer the turn 3 version, but I don't know that I just, like, mulligan a hand, which also has a Boseiju, to just, like, go turbo. So Stomping Grounds pairs with Rafine's Tower, which I can fetch with Arid Mesa. So let's just get that out of the way. And we'll see what my opponent does. It's going to be like a Sigarda's Aid or something. All right, Springleaf Drum. Okay. There's more. A Giver of Runes. Absolutely. Seems reasonable. I am just going to go ahead and shock myself with Stomping Ground here to leave up Boseiju in case that is relevant. I don't know that it will be, but, like, I want to have the possibility. Alright, there's a Pure Steel Paladin. There's a Shadow Spear. That Shadow Spear is legitimately annoying, but that Shadow Spear doesn't kill me. Alright. You coming in? You are. I think I get rid of this. I'm not happy about doing it, but I think I get rid of this. Like, it's 2 life this turn, 2 life next turn, meaning my opponent is at 23. And that means if I were to hit poorly on one side of the Calibrated Blast, I wouldn't kill my opponent anymore. Because like a 15 plus a 4 would be 19, for example, which does kill now, but wouldn't after a connection with Shadow Spear. But like, there's a possibility I die to a Colossus Hammer for making that decision. Or not. Yeah, so I guess I do that in combat. Yeah, I guess I do that in combat and force my opponent to dedicate the mana. Sure. If I blow up this right now, my opponent will play a new piece of equipment and still have Metalcraft. Yeah, it's another hammer. Ooh, cool. Life's bad. Yeah. Yeah, I imagine my opponent diversifies here. Disgusting. Okay, sure. All right. So I Boseiju away one of these hammers. I still take an unhealthy amount of damage. Like 12. My 13th point of damage will be fetching with this Wooded Foothills. And like hammers aside, I am just like potentially dead next turn. Oh. Yeah, sure. Opponent's at 17. So even hitting or 15 with the throws isn't going to do it. Desert doesn't do it. Yeah, life's bad. Life's bad. I can't, like, Otawara bounce to buy myself a turn since I'm just dead to these creatures turning sideways even without the hammer math being taken into account. Yeah, I'm going to go out casting a Throes of Chaos, but, I don't think that, that does what I need it to. Cascade into a blast. Do you have a counterspell as well? Alright. Concede. That was brutal. This was a 1-4 league. Overall thoughts on the deck list? Despite the fact that I went 1-4, I do not think that this deck is bad. I think it is a little bit of a glass cannon, but like there's definitely wiggle room to do some cool things. I wonder whether or not I mulliganed enough in this league. People often criticize me for mulliganing too much, but like Calibrated Blast is kind of a 1-card combo. Maybe I should have been mulliganing like the Throes of Chaos hands that I kept to try to get a Calibrated Blast hand. So, like if you find a Calibrated Blast, like you're very likely to find 3 lands by the time you get to it. So like maybe I am not treating this deck as quite degenerate enough. And like maybe I needed to mulligan more than I already was. That's still a little unclear to me even after this league. I think we lost one match due to hitting a Throes of Chaos off a Calibrated Blast instead of hitting a big fatty. But most of these matches were pretty close, where like if I had one more, well, I should say most of these games were pretty close, where if I had one more turn, like I was very likely to win. Um, what I will say here is like this is a deck where you're doing something extremely powerful, but the variance is extremely high. So when you don't draw the Calibrated Blast or the Throes of Chaos, like your deck doesn't do a ton. And when you play a Calibrated Blast and you hit something that is not one of the big fatties, it's super feel bad. But I had a lot of fun playing this deck, and like would recommend giving it a try. I imagine this is the sort of thing that like you're absolutely going to run into in modern queues. Um, yeah, I think that's it. I don't have any meaningful things to say about the sideboard. Like I didn't bring these in ever. And part of the reason for that is like I don't want to like reveal this with a Calibrated Blast. Like I want to bring this in if like casting Punishment is just going to win me the match. Like, oh no, my opponent has 8 rhinos. Like, oh, I cast this, clear the board, and now I'm very, very likely to win. But I boarded in all the rest of the stuff, like minus the Keruga, which just like lives in the sideboard forever, be it big or small. Anyway, folks, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please click the like button on the way out. It helps a lot. If you want to see one of your own decks on the channel, that information is available in the video description, as is this deck list if you want to try it out. Have a great rest of the day. See ya!